The lack of success of the existing Toronto Maple Leaf hockey team is something that a lot of people still talk about. But they also talk about the success of the Toronto Maple Leaf baseball team, which had great success in the International League back in the day. Now, today we're going to be talking about a team that Jack Ken Cook kind of made into his own. But like I said, the Toronto Maple Leafs in the International League were a high-level minor league baseball club located in Toronto, which played from 1896 to 1967. Now, while the Maple Leafs had working agreements with numerous Major League Baseball clubs after the introduction of farm systems in the 1930s, they achieved great success as an unaffiliated club during the 1950s, when they were the strongest team on the field in attendance in the AAA International League. The 02, 18, 20, 26, and 1960 teams were recognized as being among the 100 greatest minor league teams of all time. Now, Toronto was one of professional baseball between 68 and 76, when the American League brought in the Blue Jays, which kind of had the same color scheme of the Maple Leafs. Now, the first Toronto baseball organization was called the Toronto Baseball Club, who played in the old Canadian League in 1885. It had its home games at the William Cawthra Jarvis Street Lacrosse Grounds, also called the Old Lacrosse Grounds, at the northwest corner of Jarvis and Wellesley Street. It finished the season in third place. The next year, renamed the Toronto Canucks, the team left the Canadian League along with Hamilton to join the original International League, also known as the International Association, where it played from 1886 to 1890. The baseball stadium would become known as Sunlight Park, and was built for the team and opened on May 22, 1886, with Toronto defeating Rochester 10-3 in front of what was a record 3,000 fans. Toronto won the pennant in 1887 behind 33-game winner Edward Nicholas Cannonball Crane, who also led the team in hitting with a .428 batting average, and walks were counted as hits for part of that season. The league folded, unfortunately, in 1890. Now, they also played at numerous locations at the year. Previous parks included Maple Leaf Stadium, 1926 to 67, Hanlon's Point Stadium, 1897 to 1900, 1908 to 1925, Diamond Park, 01 to 07 and 09, again Sunlight Park by the Toronto Baseball Club, and Jarvis Street Lacrosse Grounds. Now, in 1895, Toronto resurfaced in the original Eastern League, which in 1902 was designated Class A, which at the time was one level below MLB, where it played through 1911. The club relocated to Albany for part of the 1896 season, but started and finished the year in Toronto. In 1897, the team began playing its home games on the Toronto Islands at Hanlon's Point Stadium. The stadium and the team were owned by the Toronto Ferry Company. Now, over the years, they've had different owners and different efforts to keep the team or to expand the team in Toronto. They did win a major title in 34 when he won the league title under manager Ike Boone before losing the Junior World Series in 9 games. A few months later, unfortunately, some key members of the Toronto family passed away. Now, the idea about Toronto, the Jack Kent Cook era, has to be really talked about because he had great success as an owner of the States, we all know that, on various major league sports. But when he arrived in July 1951 as a new owner, he really brought a lot of promotion to it. Under Cook's ownership, the Leafs were one of the flagship franchises of the IL, leading the league in attendance every year from 52 to 56. In his first home game as owner, Cook offered free hot dogs and drinks to everyone in the park. Within a week, he had brought in Victor Borga and Gloria de Haven for guest appearances. At another game that week, he provided free orchids from Hawaii to the first 3,000 women in the park. An opera company and free comic books for children under 14 were scheduled for another game that week, but it was rained out. Cook had suggestion boxes installed throughout the stadium and introduced music over the public address system between innings. He also announced he would hire female ushers for the next season and hired a flagpole sitter who was supposed to remain at the top of the pole until the Leafs made the first division. Over the 10-year span from 51 to 60, the Maple Leafs drew 3.2 million spectators, peaking in 1952 with 446,000 fans, which went to more than 500,000 with the playoffs included. Now, 9 days after Cook became owner, the team announced it had signed its first African-American players, pitcher Leon Day and catcher Charlie White. Now, Cook had negotiated an affiliation with St. Louis Browns for 52, but with his focus on entertainment, Cook was a good fit for that, and he's often been compared to Browns owner Bill Veeck, who had tried different promotions over the years. But unfortunately, the arrangement with the Browns lasted only one season. However, despite their strong start, attendance never came again close to matching the 52 numbers, even with pennant-winning seasons under managers Luke Sewell in 54, Bruno Betzel in 56, and Dixie Walker in 57. The pennant-winning in 1960 Leafs, a Cleveland affiliate, won 100 games with a league record 32 shutouts under manager Mel McCaha, but attendance figures were flat for the previous season. When the Leafs had finished in 8th place, it was also in 1960 as well that Sparky Anderson, the future Tiger and Reds manager, a big favorite in Toronto, first joined the squad as a middle infielder, and again he went on to play with the Leafs until 64 when he became manager. Now, talking about what Sparky has said about playing in Toronto, he always felt bad playing the Blue Jays because he had so many great memories playing for Toronto that he had to motivate himself to beat Toronto. Now, in 1961, with no surprise, because Cook was going places, he left Canada to become a U.S. citizen, naming Harry Kimber plus club president. Cook sold the team in January 64 to a syndicate led by Robert L. Hunter and Sam Starr for only $50,000. Former co-owner Gardner returned to Leafs as a director, and Hunter and Starr launched a drive for community ownership, selling shares in Toronto Community Baseball Limited, although there was little interest. Now, in 65, the Boston Red Sox became the parent club, and another Baseball Hall of Fame manager, Dick Williams, replaced Anderson at the Leafs helm. Now, Williams then led them to consecutive Governor's Cup titles in 65 and 66, and of course later went on to lead Boston to the World Series. Now, despite this championship season, the Leafs lost $168,000 in 1965. Now, Gardner wrote a personal check for $100,000 that covered the shortfall, with the balance being paid by other members of the board. Meanwhile, the deterioration of Maple Leaf Stadium, regular broadcasts of major league games on television, especially because of expansion, and other factors drove attendance down to only 67,216 in 1967. Now, according to Hunter, the team lost about $500,000 over his last 4 seasons in Toronto, and the final home game, unfortunately, held on Labor Day, Monday, September 4th, 67, drew only 500 people. Now, there was some talk about getting another owner for the next season to keep it there, and the asking price was $60,000. Now, Maple Leaf Gardens Limited, owner of the Toronto Maple Leafs and NHL, held negotiations to purchase the club, but the deal ultimately fell apart due to concerns about the team stadium, which needed $250,000 in repairs, and whose owner wanted $4 million to purchase it. Harold Ballard, part owner of MLGL, said that the company's interest was due in part to help position themselves to go after a Major League Baseball franchise for Toronto. Now, after the season, the team was sold to Walter Dilbeck, a real estate developer from Indiana, for $65,000. On October 17, 1967, the directors of the IL approved the transfer to Maple Leafs to Louisville, where the team competed as the Louisville Colonels, starting in 1968. After just 5 seasons, the club moved again to Pawtucket in 1973, where it operated as the Pawtucket Red Sox through the 2020 season, after which the club moved to Worcester, Massachusetts, to become the Worcester Red Sox for the 2021 season. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Pawtucket Red Sox owe everything to Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, unfortunately, the team's baseball stadium was demolished in 1968. Now, in 1969, the year after the demise of the AAA Leafs, a new Toronto Maple Leafs began play as an amateur team belonging to the Ontario-only Inter-County Baseball League at another diamond located in Christie Pitts Park. Now again, the expansion of Major League Baseball came in Toronto. Now, titles: Toronto won the Eastern League International League pennant 12 times, 1887, 1902, 1907, 1912, 1917, 1918, 1926, 1943, 1954, 1956, 1957, and 1960. The team won the Governor's Cup title 4 times, 34, 60, 65, and 66, with finals in 43, 55, 56, and 58. They won the Junior World Series in 07 and 26, with finalists in 17, 34, and 1960. Now, they had various great players over the year, including Ike Boone, the great Elson Howard, Mike Goliath, Rocky Nelson, Jim King, and Joe Foy, Jack Crimminen, Lynn Lovegut, Don Johnson, Al Cicotte, and Gary Wasilewski. Now, batting titles, again, top player, John Morrison, Cannonball Crane, Judson Smith, Buck Freeman, Jim Bannon, Jack Toney, Myron Grayshaw, Jack Slattery, Maury Rath, Nap Lajoie, of course, the famous Nap Lajoie, Dale Alexander, Ike Boone, Rocky Nelson, Joe Foy, and Reggie Smith. That was the batting crown winners. Hall of Fame members that have been inducted from the Toronto alumni include Sparky Anderson, Ed Barrow, Dan Broders, Leon Day, Hugh Duffy, Charlie Ginger, Burley Grimes, Carl Hubble, Willie Keeler, Joe Kelly, Ralph Kiner, Nap Lajoie, Tony Lazzeri, Heine Mush, and of course Dick Williams. Now, the key part with the Maple Leafs, it was sort of like something that everybody thought this is going to be a nice way to spend an afternoon, because Toronto is a great place for baseball. Now, the International League at the time was the closest we were going to get to Major League Baseball. Now, they played single A, double A, but what was kind of interesting, ladies and gentlemen, in 1912, minor league baseball was reorganized as a new top-level classification. Now, but on September 5th, 14, soon after Canada entered the First World War, get this, a 19-year-old Babe Ruth was pitching for the Providence Grays in a game against the Maple Leafs. The Bambino threw a shutout game, beating the Maple Leafs 9-0, but most notably hit his first pro home run to cash in 3 of those runs. So, nothing but success with the Maple Leafs. Great players, great managers, great players to play ball, kind of created Jack Ken Cook. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to think about this for a second. If anybody thinks the words Toronto Maple Leafs means losers, that's wrong. There's been various Toronto Maple Leafs teams over the years, lacrosse, different stuff like that. But you got to understand, the Toronto Maple Leafs baseball team meant so much to so many people, because the connections with Buffalo and Rochester and Hamilton and even the Ottawa Lynx and other minor league teams that played through the years, they were the groundbreaker for baseball in Canada. The Edmonton Trappers, Vancouver Canadians, and all that. Toronto was, again, the best place for baseball, not in Major League Baseball. And expansion in the 60s, like any other leagues, hockey did the same thing as well. They were going to expand in Toronto, but to have the right sponsorship from a food and drink perspective, that's why they got in, because of Labatt's. But let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, there's not much video on the Maple Leafs back in the day. But Dick Williams once said, he told when a reporter asked him, he said, why are you moving to Montreal to coach the Expos? Well, he said, Toronto's just close on, and the guy didn't even know that the Dick Williams had been part of the Toronto glory years over the years. So, latest podcast on vintage baseball, and I'm glad I can talk about Jack Ken Cook. What a mind and what a charismatic guy. So if you like what we're doing here, give us a like, comment, subscribe, or share. And as we like to say in baseball, swing for the fences. Thanks for listening. Bye.